Hey guys, this is Crowbar Zero, and today I've got something super special. I got the info, and the big thing is I got the permission from the dev himself, Fuds, the main dev, to release this information, and so far it has not been released to the majority of the public. So, we're going to get into this. So, the big thing with version 21.7, which is the current version that's now just released for everyone. There's two big things. There's Ultimate Weapon Plus, and a lot of people are like, oh, hey, this looks really cool. But what's really going to be affecting everyone are the new tournament conditions. Go ahead and make sure that you're ready to stick around for a little while. Might be a little bit longer because I'm going to go into some detail on some of these. And you can probably see on the side that I've starred some of the conditions that I've listed out because I'm going to go into some details about them and kind of like, what to look out for. Maybe how are you going to stack your cards so that you can optimize for each of the tournaments. So to begin with, you will see in this top left corner this little flame icon. This is supposed to show in this next tournament that's coming up what are going to be the next conditions. So, tournament heat. How does that work? So I'm going to pull up this little info section. So at these wave counts, that is steadily going to decrease. But not everything is going to increase at the same rate at these different thresholds. So something like orb resistance may level up a little bit faster than death ray resistance. Now, what's shown right here, that's what you start the tournament at. So as you progress through these levels, through those waves, these levels increase. So you're going to get hit with something like orb resistance, and you're only going to be doing like 2% of their max health or 5% or something along those lines, later on deep into the tournament. So, I've got my list over here on the left. I'm going to kind of raise my mouse up to that level. The first one that I'm going to talk about is armored cubes. Armored cubes is absolutely nuts. So, actually, personally, I think it's just like the absolute nuttiest one. So it starts out the tournament where the first 10 shots at a cube, they're going to straight out block it. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't even, let's say, you don't even have orb resistance. It's like the orbs or death ray are going to hit it, and it's only going to count as one hit. You have to hit them 10 times until you can actually start doing damage. That's just the starting bar. Once you get really deep into it, the enemies, once it's like totally maxed out, level 100 for armored cubes, they're going to be soaking up 100 hits. Like, it is absolutely bonkers. So, some of the things that you're really going to want to help counter armored cubes, obviously, very high attack speed, as high as you possibly get it. Poison Swamp is going to be really good. It's just going to cover a lot of area. I mean, you are going to be killing guys, which are going to spawn, poison swamps. You're going to want to make sure, the duration, the radius are as high as you possibly can. Definitely promoting getting poison swamp for that purpose. The other one that's really super useful is chain lightning. Chain lightning actually has kind of found a nice little niche here in the meta, thanks to armored cubes. If you have chain lightning, and at a decent level, which is like I would say about 4 chains, and then maybe somewhere around like 15 to 18% chance to spawn out. Those are going to be really good thresholds for being able to overcome that 100 hits that you have to go through before you can actually damage these enemies. Absolutely bonkers. Some other things to note, that when armor cubes are up, and especially in the later waves, taking things like enemy balance are probably not going to be much of a big deal because you're already going to be balancing so many enemies on the screen. It's pretty much going to be capped out. So if you take enemy balance, you're going to be increasing the amount of cash that you bring in, and that'll help you buy out some additional health, like enemy health level skips. So don't miss out on that opportunity if you have armored cubes as part of your tournament conditions. Faster enemies, that kind of speaks to itself. Fast enemies are going to be your big bads. As long as you have like light speed and really fast attack speed in general, you'll probably be able to do fairly decently. If you are having problems with your game tracking enemies, you might want to slow things down a bit. And if I didn't mention, which I don't think I did, most people are going to be getting maybe half as many waves as you used to. So don't kick yourself if you're doing a lot worse. Everyone's going to be doing a lot worse. But if you have like little strategies and stuff to be able to offset some of these, that'll really help you out. Let's see. So faster enemies. Things like inner landmines, poison swamp, that's going to be super good. Obviously, Chrono Field is like an obvious choice on being able to slow enemies as much as possible. And that's a big one there. Enemies attack faster. So I didn't start that one. Running glass cannon, I didn't feel like that affected me too much, other than just kind of expecting that enemies are going to multi-hit me whenever they hit me. So just kind of be aware of that. I don't know of any particular good strategies to offset that. I think it's more of some of these other conditions that really make things dangerous. More enemies. Obviously, that's kind of self-explanatory. If you're already running something like enemy balance, you're probably going to have a pretty good feel of what more enemies are going to feel like. And if for some strange reason you get armored cubes and more enemies all in one, armored cubes is kind of going to supersede more enemies to begin with. But, hopefully you've got, this is probably going to be more of your attack speed that's going to bar you or, restrict you from going any farther. So just be aware of that. Also things like chain lightning, other things can help kill enemies faster. As well as poison swamp. Let's see. More bosses. So more bosses, I started that one because it is a fairly dangerous condition to have, and the big part about that is most players are relying on the time between bosses to be able to recuperate their energy shield. With more bosses, that's going to be substantially more difficult to get through, and there's a lot of strategies that are timed so that by the 10 wave or the 0 wave, you've got a cooldown on whatever, such as smart missiles, maybe Ambot, a lot of other things just specifically to help counter bosses. So that's going to cut down a lot of, waves just in the nature of that. Reduce plasma cannon damage. I mean, I think everyone has a pretty good idea there. Once you get that maxed out, that cuts out 54% of the boss's health. It makes it like so much easier to kill bosses. So, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to want to make sure that you've got really good damage, especially for offsetting on bosses, to be able to take them out. That's pretty straightforward there. So, like, more bosses to reduce plasma cannon damage would be pretty nasty. Let's say reduced orbs. So that I put that one as a really dangerous one because that allows a lot of enemies to build up, similar to armored cubes. So, over time, these enemies are just going to overtake you, and you're probably going to start getting hit with from fast or namely ranged enemies are particularly really dangerous. Reduced death ray or death ray resistance. as you can see on the right over here. I'm just putting like reduced effect, but you know what I mean. At least for my build, I don't feel like death rate is killing nearly as many as orbs do. So I guess maybe they're kind of comparable, but I think orb resistance is a little bit more of a deadlier condition. But both of those are going to reduce it down. Again, you know, a lot of these things like reduce plasma cannon damage, you know, orb resistance, death ray resistance, thorns resistance, plasma cannon resistance. You know, eventually it's going to get to a point where those things are going to only affect like 1, 2 something percent once it's totally maxed out. So they are pretty nasty. I didn't start death ray resistance just because, again, I don't think it's nearly as dangerous as orb resistance, but it's there. Reduced thorns, that's pretty nasty for everyone. A lot of people are kind of like expecting, okay, if I can't kill the boss by the time he gets to me, you know, my thorns are going to finish it off. Or if you're running something along the lines of like an effective hit point build, your damage might be just going completely out to the trash can with this. This also affects if somebody is trying to use a strategy where they're trying to maximize their wall thorns as much as possible. That's going to be a huge hindrance there. And I think there was one that I missed. I think there might be one for like knockback resistance. So forgive me for not putting that in there. I think there is knockback resistance, especially with that. You're going to want to have, you know, just as much overwhelming damage that you can just nuke the enemies out so that you don't have to worry about them, you know, overcoming you in that effect. I believe to date that is actually here. I will just enter that in so everyone can see that. Let's see here. Resistance. There we go. Bloop. We'll put a star on that one because that's pretty nasty too. We don't want guys hitting us. Whoa, that became. There we go. There's our new list. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be releasing some more information later on about Ultimate Weapon Plus. I wanted to release this one first because we haven't had our first tournament with the tournament heat system, and this is going to affect everyone versus the Ultimate Weapon Plus. Even for me, where I'm at, I don't think that my account is quite ready, especially with all the new tournament conditions, to start really investing heavily in them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys later.